Dave Weinberg with us here, our newest contributor to 97.3 ESPN, longtime columnist and beat writer. Dave, you playing golf today?
Well, I don't think the hard stuff's going to come down for quite a while yet, so I might get out there.
Your Eminency, Your Excellency, lots of fun stuff to talk about, Dave, including the fact that, let's start with this. Tennessee didn't win, buddy. You were for sure that you were going for Tennessee, and the Chiefs pulled it off.
Yeah. Well, not the first time I've been wrong, but I really thought that Derrick Henry would be able to be more of a factor than he was, and I thought Tennessee's defense would be able to at least slow down Patrick Mahomes, but turns out that wasn't the case. So yeah, congrats to the Chiefs for getting to the Super Bowl and giving Andy Reid one more shot at it.
So you and a certain radio host in Philadelphia both are on the bandwagon of, like, why are we celebrating this guy, right? You have that column up on our website, 973ESPN.com. Reid's popularity is puzzling. You start off by saying, I just don't get it, right? Why don't you expand on your thoughts on Andy? Because it's only going to get heated or more intense now that the Chiefs are through to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people out there that are rooting for Andy. I'm just not one of them. I don't understand like what he did as an Eagle to warrant, being in, rooting for him so hard in the Super Bowl. The theory is that, oh yeah, we really want Andy to finally win one. Well, the reason he didn't win one was because he didn't get it done in Philly. So why are you celebrating that fact? The fact that they were, favorites at least two of the 5 times they were in the NFC Championship, 3 of the 5 times they were in the NFC Championship game, and didn't get it done against Tampa or Carolina when they were arguably the better team. So I'm just not getting all the love for Big Red.
Well, and I did hear Mike Gill talking yesterday. I think Jeff Mosher was on with him about, if you called up Andy Reid's head coaching record, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 times in his head coaching record, including his first year with the Eagles, that he missed the playoffs. I mean, if you wanted your team to go to the playoffs, Andy Reid's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, so
that doesn't measure success in your book. The fact that the guy continually gets your team to the playoffs.
Oh yeah, he had success. He had a good run in Philly, but I don't understand why that means you have to root for him to win the Super Bowl on Sunday. I just don't. It just doesn't add up for me. I don't. I mean, Ray Rhodes made the playoffs his first 2 years that he was there, and they gave him a pretty crappy team to deal with the next 2 years. I mean, I just don't. But Buddy Ryan got them to the playoffs. I don't know how many times. Never won a playoff game, but he's still beloved by people, which I don't understand. So I just don't. I don't get the fact that and his lack of success in Philly. I just don't understand why that makes you want to root for him to win in Kansas City. I mean, you're not. If you're not a Chiefs fan, I don't get why you would root for him.
I mean, you got to pick. You're going to root for somebody, right? I guess the Niners haven't made enough of a compelling case, right? Normally,
49ers.
Yeah, normally it does. Normally it does go party lines, right? If you follow the Eagles, so you're an NFC follower, so then you root for the NFC team. But in this case, the fact of who the head coach is on the other side apparently does make a difference.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm of the opinion where it really doesn't matter to me too much, who wins. It depends on who I'm betting on. I guess now that there's legalized sports betting for the Super Bowl, I'm going to put a few quarters down on a team, and hopefully that they'll be able to pull through for me. I can tell you now, I'm going to bet on San Francisco.
There you go.
Have to hope that they come through for me on Sunday.
I did hear a lot of dialogue about the fact that Kyle Shanahan is getting it done right out of the Mike Shanahan playbook, and the fact that the 49ers utilize a fullback. Who uses a fullback anymore? The fact that Jimmy Garoppolo, think about how many times he threw the football in the championship game, right? I mean, this is basically getting it done with a running attack that then opens up the passing game if you need to even pass.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty impressed with them. Like you said, Jimmy only threw it 8 times, I think, last week. But who's to say that he won't throw it 30 times in the Super Bowl? I think Kyle's done a very good job of capitalizing on what's available to him, based on the opponent. He's not afraid to throw the ball if he thinks that's the best way to attack a defense. Just so happened that Raheem Mostert, who was on the Eagles practice squad, as a matter of fact, in the start of his NFL career. So maybe there's a reason you can want to root for the Niners. But he took advantage of the opportunities. He saw the hole in the defense and made it, and took advantage of it with Raheem running for over 200 yards. And Kansas City doesn't have the best run defense. So it'll be interesting to see how Kyle attacks that next week.
I will say this before we move on from Andy Reid and the Chiefs, that the name that gave me chills in your column was I had forgotten Joe Juravicius. So when you brought that name up, I was like, oh, it just made me a little ill to my stomach because, yeah, we made the guy look like a Hall of Famer in that game.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Him and Ricky Manning Jr. of the Panthers the next year. Yeah, it was. There's a couple names there, Rondé Barber too. They kind of like stick out with you when you think about some of those playoff games in the past.
What did you think this week when you saw that Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens are renewing their argument on Twitter?
It's laughable, really. I mean, I think this. I don't think Donovan intentionally sought to stir this back up again. I think he was probably asked a question and just responded. But for T.O. to take advantage of that to try to make himself relevant again, it's just it's like what 2005 I think was when this happened, 15 years ago. So move on already, for goodness sake.
How about Eli Manning? Hangs him up after 16 seasons with the Giants. We had Mike McGarry on earlier, and of course he's a big Eli defender. Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer, Dave Weinberg?
Yes, in my view, yes. I think he's one of the all-time greats. I mean, I don't know if he's on the par with like the Dan Marinos and the John Elways, but I do think that he belongs in Canton. I mean, 7th all-time in passing yards, 7th all-time touchdown passes, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 Super Bowl victories. I know everybody points to that 117 record, but a quarterback doesn't win or lose games by himself, so I don't put as much stock in that as maybe some people do. But yeah, his 16-year career is durable as they came. Never missed a game because of an injury. Always there for his teammates, and then even the fans. I definitely think he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
I read a fun article on The Athletic about Eli's career, and it was called Eli Esoterica, Eli Manning's Legacy Against the Eagles. And you're right, 117 and 117, and it had some names about quarterbacks in NFL history that played at least 10 games and finished their careers with the exact 500 record. Enjoy these names as I read them off, Dave. Jim Plunkett, Jeff Garcia, Tavares Jackson, Jim Nunkowski, Brock Osweiler, Shane Matthews, Matt Robinson, Sage Rosenfels, Sean Salisbury, here's my favorite, Jerry Taggy, and Tommy Thompson.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that's murderer's row.
Right. Jerry Taggy, 6-6. And then there's guys out there that could be right with him. Ryan Tannehill's 49-49, Matt Moore's 16-16, and Gardner Minshew right now 6-6. But the thrust of the article, Dave, and you saw a lot of Eli Manning against the Eagles. His 37 interceptions against the Eagles, and that includes playoffs. That's more than he threw against any other team in his 16-year career. Perhaps that may be why some Eagle fans say no, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're just going strictly against how he did against the Eagles, he probably isn't. But, there's 31 other teams in the NFL that he did, pretty well against. And I'd argue, I'll point you to Joe Namath. What was his win-loss record? I bet he lost more than he won.
Joe Namath's win-loss record was, hang on, let me get my GD box working here. He was, there it is right there. Stand by, efforting. His win-loss record was career history, Beaver Falls, percentage. Yep. One day I'll learn how to work a computer, Dave, before you ask me questions. But Joe Namath, that's a good point. There's a guy, and
he probably had more interceptions than touchdown passes, too.
He had 173 touchdowns and 220 interceptions. So, yes.
There you go.
Very much
so. Right?
Yeah, he is. He is. So what you're telling me is don't worry about Eli's interceptions. Just worry about the whole of the picture, not one part of the picture.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think I happen to think Joe Namath was he was one of my favorite players, actually probably my favorite player when, growing up as every kid, with the white shoes and the long hair and everything. Everybody thought he was a rock star. So But yeah, Eli's. I think you got to take the body of work there. Like I said, two Lombardi trophies, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and I know he had a lot of help getting those, obviously. But yeah, I definitely think that he deserves his place in the Hall of Fame.
If I'm not mistaken, Joe Namath's record was 62, 63, and 4, because of course they could have ties early on in 65, 66, and 67. There were still ties. If I'm not wrong. But I could be wrong because, me working a computer is always a challenge. All right. The one thing I can tell you before we leave this Hall of Fame talk on Eli, and is he a Hall of Famer or not, this was my favorite stat out of the Athletic article, that there were 4 guys. Manning was intercepted by a Michael, Michael, a Michael, Mychal, a Mike, Mike, and a Michael, Mikell, right? And the only first or last name that's shared by 2 of the 26 Eagles to intercept Manning, Quentin. And there's Quentin Michael and Quentin Demps. So
there you go.
Yeah, if you're,
I guess Quentin Michael fits in both categories, then, huh?
If you're looking for a good laugh, Bo Wolf is the guy that put that up. The Athletic the Athletic gets a little deep sometimes, but those things make me laugh. So Dave Weinberg's with us. Our newest.
I'm just curious. Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
Yes, I do. Because to me, a 2-time Super Bowl MVP is the very first thing you go to. First of all, he won the game. He didn't win it. He won it twice. And there's people that say, "But David Tyree caught the ball off his helmet." I don't care. You got on the biggest stage out there, and he won the game twice. I think I heard the stat the other day about the number of Super Bowl MVPs, like 2-time or more, and like 5 total guys out there, including Montana, including Brady. And somebody put it from a perspective too. Can you imagine how many Super Bowls would Brady and the Patriots have if Eli Manning didn't do what he did?
That's correct. Very good. Great minds think alike.
Well, sure, but now you're putting me in with McGarry too. So, we won't get into that. All right, here we go. Let's talk about a couple of things that happened during the week from the world of baseball. First of all, it was very funny. I was at the Sports Writers Banquet in Cherry Hill on Monday night. I'm a member of the Philadelphia Sports Writers Association. Really, it's just because I want to go to the banquet. I do a little writing. I'm not you. But they had, the comedian up there doing his bit, and he talked about the fact that, because Joe Girardi was up on the dais, and so was JT Realmuto. And at one point he said, Joe Girardi's speech was going too long, but JT Realmuto banged on the table 3 times, so he knew to, cut it off or right, something like that. So he was basically referencing the sign stealing, and you have a big piece up on 97.3 ESPN.com, an extra points column about sign stealing in baseball, and you're not as plussed about it as everybody's got their feathers ruffled, Dave, about this, and you're like, come on.
Yeah, I'm not quite as outraged as some other people. I mean, I do understand, the sanctity of the game, and but this kind of stuff's been going on, like I pointed out, since the 1890s, for goodness sakes, and the Phillies were among the first teams that kind of instituted. There's always been a way to try and steal signs, whether it's binoculars in center field behind the fence, or and they're trying to relay things. There was even like a famous story about a Phillies third base coach where he was standing on a box that was connected to electric cables, and they find a way to deliver like electric jolts to the box that would shoot up his legs, and that's how he knew when there was a fastball or curve coming. It was just it's been a part of the game for I don't know how many years, and I know people will say, it's okay to steal signs as long as you do it legally. Well, either you're stealing signs or you're not. I don't care if you're using a computer or you're using your eyes. It's been a part of the game forever, and I just don't. The fact that the Astros got caught, I'm really sorry. Give them fine them if you want, but don't vacate their World Series title. I just think that's going way above and beyond what needed to be done.
I mean, the fact, and I get the people getting upset over Altuve didn't want him to rip his jersey off because that would reveal the signaling device that he had taped to his chest.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Allegedly. I'm sorry. I need to put the word allegedly in there.
Yes, you do. You got to put that in everything. Yep.
So, I mean, I understand that buzzers and of course, Your column has a lot of fun stuff too, and I think we talked about Jack Weeks a little bit and the signs, and you talked about the
Yeah, we did that last week. Yeah,
positioning of the glove, which is great, which is outstanding. And then everybody wants to know, and Dave, if this was you, would you reveal? Everybody wants to know who the person is that didn't vote for Derek Jeter for the Hall of Fame.
Oh my gosh, that's just such a disgrace. I mean, if you think Derek Jeter, I've always said this about no matter who's eligible. If you think the guy's a Hall of Famer, then vote for him. Or why do you have to wait till like his 6th year of eligibility or his 10th year to decide? Either he's a Hall of Famer or he's not. And there's no doubt that Derek Jeter belongs in the Hall of Fame. So why do you have to cast this like one no vote? I mean, I don't know if he knew that he was the only guy that was going to be the center, but I've never understood why Mariano Rivera, I mean, as great as he is, congratulations to him, but why is he the first guy to be a unanimous pick? Ted Williams wasn't a Hall of Famer, Willie Mays, Babe Ruth. You can go on and on about people that, were certainly, no doubt, Ken Griffey Jr., that were no doubt versatile Hall of Famers. So why do you have to have this unofficial rule that says nobody can be in on unanimous on their first try? It makes no sense to me at all.
Well, and one thing that is interesting is whether it's he or she, this person does not want to reveal themselves. That part is fascinating to me, because if it was somebody out there with an agenda or wanted to make a name, they're certainly not coming out and saying it was me.
Right, and why would you not stand behind your vote if you were willing to put your neck out there and be the dissenting vote? Why would you not own up to it? I don't get. I have more respect for the guy last year who, instead of voting against Rivera, just didn't put in a ballot, because he knew that he would be the one that would prevent him from being the unanimous pick. So he just didn't submit a ballot that year. That way, he got all the votes that he needed to get in.
I've never asked you this before. Did you ever have any of those? Like, did you have a Heisman vote ever at any time in your life, or were you were never a member of the BWAA? Right? I mean, what are some of the awards you voted for in your lifetime?
Oh yeah, I'm a member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame Voters Committee. So yeah, I have a vote on that every year.
All right, that's a good segue into fighting, because the McGregor fight, if it was like my love life. It was over before you knew it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. I mean, everybody knew that was going to happen. It was kind of almost like I don't want to say it was, set up, but everybody knew that Cerrone really didn't have a chance. They were kind of like throwing him a bone for his years of dedication. He's never turned down a fight. He's always been willing to step in when other people backed out. And he is a very talented fighter, but he's really not on the level of Conor McGregor. And when Conor is focused, he's as good as it gets. He seems to have straightened out his personal and professional troubles, and if that's the case, then he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. So, I mean, I was a little surprised it didn't last longer, but I really wasn't surprised with the result.
Anything boxing or MMA on the horizon right now that we should be talking about before we let you go?
In Atlantic City, there's gonna be a card coming up in March at Bally's, supposedly. A company called Hard Hitting Promotions is scheduling a card. Ring of Combat is coming to the Tropicana again later in February, and Cage Fury also has a card at the Hard Rock in March.
You can read his work on our website, 97.3 ESPN. He's Dave Weinberg, a writer and columnist for us, 27 years as an Eagles beat writer. He was there 34 years at the newspaper, boxing, MMA, other sports, and check out his Extra Points Plus. Follow him on Twitter, an excellent follow on Twitter, at Dave Weinberg 19, a gentleman that I refer to as the unofficial mayor of Cape May. He's got all the perks of the job without any of the hassle.
That's true. Unlike the real mayor.
That's right. No doubt, Dave.